Hi, everybody. Welcome to Virtual Write the Docs Prague. My name is Mikey Ariel. I am the chair for this conference. I am broadcasting to you from the comfort of my home office in Prague, Czech Republic. And we're very, very happy to have you all here from all around the world joining us for the virtual edition of Write the Docs Prague. We hope that you're all doing okay. It's still quite a rough year for everybody. I never thought I would feel such a strong roller coaster sensation while not moving around very much. Some of you who know me know that I usually spend about 30% of my time traveling. And even though I also have my tech jobs, I have not had any music jobs at all since maybe 2 gigs since the world turned upside down. But I'm focusing on what I can do. And I'm focusing on where I can contribute and where I can be creative. So, I have my little things going around, my little songwriting, and also the virtual conferences. If you've been around in the previous years, you probably remember this picture. This is from last year, which was our last year at the Auto Club. And we had plans, we wanted to increase capacity. We had a new venue picked out, but the plans changed. If you want to see an example of what an organizer's command center looks like, this is how I spent Write the Docs Portland back in August. Many tabs, many windows open. I used all of my monitors. But I have to say that I didn't imagine to have such a strong feeling of community and connectedness. Eric was talking in his conference introduction about feeling connectedness, and I definitely felt that, and I know that a lot of people felt that while attending from their homes. And this is one of the reasons I absolutely love this community. And if I didn't have this community to balance out, the more technical work that I do, I probably wouldn't have been in such a good mood now. So I really hope that coming to these events and talking to people has really helped. And I want to just share a few examples that I grabbed from Twitter, some responses that we've had after the first virtual conference ever that we did in Portland. So people, didn't expect to feel the feels. And I'm really happy that people were feeling the same feels that they had in the in-person conference. We had some people who were walking around their house with their earpods trying to catch the talks while they were doing other things. And the live chat had a really interesting impact because all the conversations were still there in the logs, so you can kind of go back and check the conversations. And somebody said that the conference felt so interactive and the audience was supportive and engaged, and this is exactly what we were hoping to achieve. We even had some people take virtual selfies and recreate the snacks from the Crystal Ballroom, so I thought that was really fun. And I'm so grateful for every single one of you for making this community so empowering and so connected. Doesn't matter where we are in the world, whether we can meet face to face or join virtually. So thank you for each and every one of you. Okay, let's get into it. So all the talks in the conference are happening on the stage, same as mine. So you are now in the stage area. And after every talk, we will have a live Q&A, which is a new feature for the virtual conference. And it was an experiment we did for Portland, and I'm happy to say that it was a success, which means that we can have some more interaction with the speakers instead of coming up to them and asking your question. So those will happen in a session. So I will also be waiting for you in a session after my talk. And you can ask me anything about the conference, about the community, about organizing, volunteering. Besides the things that are happening on the stage, we also have the Unconference, the social event, and the lightning talks are also happening in sessions. So you will be able to go to the sessions area on the left side. I feel like a weathercaster. On the left side we have here, and the clouds are coming in. Never mind. By the way, Eric, the playing field is level now because I feel way more awkward without an audience and a stage and a microphone. So we're all good, buddy. Okay, so we have the expo area for the sponsor booths, and this is where the job fair will also happen on Tuesday morning. You can see the schedule in the reception page of the platform, so you can find out what's happening right now and what's coming up in the day. Another thing that we have, instead of actual hallways, we have hallway sessions. So those sessions are also in the sessions page, and you can go there and meet people and share your audio and video and have conversations, very water cooler like. So these are casual, unmoderated sessions. And you can also use the chat feature for private messaging with another person or with up to 4 other people. So you can have a one-on-one or one-on-5 private conversation. Okay, so during the talks, you can ask questions, which we will then moderate and ask the speaker. In order to ask a question, please prefix your question with the letter Q and colon. We have a wonderful questions bot that Sasha programmed, and the bot will collect your questions into a spreadsheet, and the moderators will sort through the questions and then ask the speaker during the Q&A. We also have live captions provided to us by our wonderful captioners. You might remember them, Cheryl and Julia. They're from the UK. They came out to Prague last few years, and now they're actually sitting in their home offices doing the live captions. It will be with an external link. You can see it in the pinned message in the stage chat. And if you have any questions about anything or the platform, or you run into some trouble, maybe connections or things like that, you can head over to our help desk in the expo area. We have a help desk booth, and it's operated by our wonderful welcome wagon people, Daniel, Beth, and Andrea. And there's also a welcome wagon video, orientation video. You might recognize my voice from the video narration. And that video is more focused on Hopin, which is the platform that you're in right now. So it's instead of, let's say, the face-to-face conference venue tour. So it's a short video that can give you some tips on how to navigate the platform and how to make the most out of it. In case of any technical difficulties with Hopin platform, I want to ask everybody to be attentive to your Slack. I assume that most people will be on Slack. If you are not, please join, and please join the WTD conferences channel, because that's where we will post announcements with any disruption or any kind of streaming issues. So this will be our backup platform for announcements. Okay. So what are we doing here? What are these conferences? If you're here for the first time, it might be a little bit different for you. If you've been here before, you know that we are, in fact, first and foremost, a community conference. This is started as a social network, a place to find your people, anybody who has interest in documentation, in communication, in content, very collaborative mindset, and we want to make sure that all of those people have a place to go. I'm a technical writer by profession, and I found myself, for example, going to a lot of developer conferences. I work in open source software, so I've had a chance to go to a lot of community conferences that are developer focused. And some conferences are more friendly than others, for sure. But I've often found myself feeling like a second-rate citizen in a lot of these events. And so when I found Write the Docs back in 2014, yes, the first Write the Docs conference, I was in Budapest. We had about 100 people there, and I really found my group. I found my people. So Write the Docs has established the term documentarian as a way to refer to all of the people who are involved and all the people who are caring about this documentation. So it could be any role. You know, writers, developers are definitely the highest percentage of members that we have, but we have QA engineers, designers, support people, DevOps, DevRel, marketing, community managers. I mean, we've had librarians, scientists, anybody who cares about communication is absolutely welcome here. So this was supposed to be the 7th year of the European conference, which would be the 6th year in Prague. But of course, with the way things have gone, the virtual conference is, of course, year 1. And this is another running joke that Eric and I have. We go back and forth. He likes to have this slide that says we have no idea what we're doing. And I keep trying to make it a little bit more, positive and hopeful. And this time I want to actually quote Eric, because he mentioned something earlier in the year in one of our team meetings that I thought was really interesting. It was really accurate. It's not that we don't have an idea what we're doing is that we all have new jobs this year. So as organizers, especially the global team, we've had to make a lot of adjustments. We have, this platform, this format, the way that we build the schedule, the way that we prepare all the technical aspects of the conference. It's all brand new. And again, I want to say thank you to all of the conference teams that have been involved. We're all figuring it out as we go along, and the engagement and the flexibility of everybody who's involved in making these conferences happen, the virtual conferences, has made our jobs so much easier. So thank you again. All right, so that was our job. And your job during this conference and in general, but especially during this conference when we have hundreds of people all sharing a virtual space, it's basically the same thing that you would do in the in-person conference. Your job is to make friends, either meet the friends that you've seen before in the conferences, make new friends. We have a few tricks for that. I'll tell you in a little bit. Also learn something. We have a huge selection of talks, really great topics. I'm really looking forward to watching all of them. And also we have the Unconference sessions where people can share knowledge about anything that interests you. So please make friends, learn something, and have fun. That's the best we can do, even in regular times, and especially now, focusing on the positive and making those connections and keeping the conversation going really contributes to the sense of connectedness and belonging that Write the Docs has always been so great at. And it helps me, and I hope it helps you too, to feel that global community. So how do we make all this work, right? How do we make sure that we make friends, learn something, and have fun? We do this the same way that we always do, by being welcoming. If you remember, I talked about the different roles that we have that care about documentation and content. Those are all the people who are around you. So if you look at people's profiles on Hopin, you'll be able to see a lot of different roles, geographical areas, levels of experience, and all of those people care about the same thing, being a part of this community. So we want to be welcoming to those people, to everybody. We want to be open to new ideas, new ways of thinking, to new information. And we want to be supportive of everybody, so if you need to take a break, if you need to take care of yourself, we want to be supportive of that. And we also want to stay positive. Of course, this is one of the happiest communities that I've encountered in the tech industry, which is part of the reason I've been involved in it for so long. We've all had experience with different kinds of people, and I find that it's definitely one of the best groups of people that I've been lucky to meet and to share a space with. So we have a couple of things that we like to do. One of the things that we usually do in our in-person conference is the Pacman Rule. And originally, if you're standing in a group, the idea is to leave space for another person to join. And in the virtual space, it might be a little bit different, but I'm thinking mainly in the hallway tracks, in the hallway track sessions. If you're there and you're having a conversation and you see a bunch of people entering and maybe not sharing their video, then feel free to invite them and make them feel welcome, and feel free to join the hallway track conversations. Or if you see an interesting conversation happening in the chat, feel free to try and jump in and contribute. This also applies to the Unconference and in general, just to be social. The other thing that we like to do is the Snowball Rule. And this is something that you can actually do pretty easily in the virtual conference, probably easier than the in-person conference. So the rule is, for every year you've attended, we encourage you to meet one new person every day. So for me, it would be the 7th year. I have to meet 7 new people every day. But if it's your first year, you just have to meet 1 per day. It could be a chat conversation. It could be a private message or a private video call. Or it could be new people that you meet in the Unconference or in the hallway track. And you have permission to meet anyone who is here. There's a list of all the attendees on the in the chat panel, and you can go ahead and write to anybody. But of course, you also have permission to maintain your mental health, your personal space. if you're not feeling as talkative, then you definitely have permission to take care of yourself and don't feel that you need to be obligated to participate in conversations if you're not up for it. Of course, we have the code of conduct. The code of conduct is a minimum, not a standard. We're very, very lucky to have such a welcoming and open community, and we usually have a very low amount of incidents, and the ones that do happen are often misunderstandings that get resolved pretty quickly. So we have some really great people here. But of course, in case anything happens that you feel uncomfortable or that you feel is a violation of the code of conduct, please, we have a report that you can submit either by email. You can also go to the help desk and talk to the Welcome Wagon folks, and they will help you find an organizer. We have a code of conduct page on our website, and it shows you exactly the process. And there's also a playbook for us as organizers. So we have a standard process. How do we handle everything? And remember that intent isn't magic, but it does make a difference. So if you're not sure of anything that's a code of conduct problem, it's better to ask us anyway, even if you're not sure, because different cultures have different standards, and what seems okay to one person might not be okay to another person. And we want to make sure that everybody has a really positive experience and that nobody feels uncomfortable with anything. So you can email us, you can go to the help desk, you can write us on Slack, and we will keep everything anonymous. At the end of the conference, we will publish an anonymized report of anything that happens. And you can also email us anytime after the conference. Another thing that's new for this year, for the virtual conference, we don't have lanyards that indicate whether you want to have your picture taken or not. So we've established a screenshot policy, which basically says, ask before you take a screenshot and share it on social media. Not everybody's comfortable with having their pictures floating around Twitter. And because we don't have these lanyards, please ask. It's better to get permission than to ask for forgiveness in this case, especially if there are some people that you don't know, and you might not even be able to tag them. So we just ask you to be considerate. So what's going to happen over the next couple of days? Actually, what was supposed to happen 2 days ago was the boat ride, our traditional boat ride on the Vltava River. Unfortunately, that's not happening, and I'll be honest with you, it's a little bit too cold for me to go on a boat right now. So I'm just going to pretend that I had a really nice boat ride. I mean, I did go on a hike last weekend, but that's kind of a Portland thing. So if you can get out, especially now, be outside a little bit, maybe take a walk around your neighborhood or maybe places in your city that you haven't been to yet. One of the interesting side effects of all these lockdowns is that I've been discovering parts of my own city and my own region that I never really bothered to find out about because I was always really free to travel anywhere I wanted. So I always figured I can get to them later. So now it's actually a really nice chance to explore your surrounding. Yesterday we had the writing day, virtual writing day. We had projects joining us, and I hope everybody had a great time. And today and tomorrow we have talks on the main stage. We had about 50 talks submitted this year, a really good number, really wide variety. I'm sorry that we didn't get a chance to accept them all. Of course, every year it gets harder. And I'm really grateful to the speakers for setting up their technical equipment and everything to record at home. I mean, I know that's not your job. It's not my job either, so we're all kind of dealing with it for the first time, a lot of us. So I really appreciate the extra effort that the speakers did. I also want to thank our broadcast manager, Bart, for taking up all of these talks and aggregating them, and from the comfort of his own home office in Rotterdam, Netherlands. And there's so many people from around the world collaborating in real time. I think it's amazing. So of course the talks are live captioned, and we have the Q&A. We also have the lightning talks. Lightning talks will happen every day after lunch. We will have a Google form for you to fill out and submit by 12. And the selected lightning talks will be announced at 1 o'clock when the lunch break starts. It will be in a session, and Paul Adams is our lightning talks coordinator, so you can ask him questions about things, or you can also ask at the help desk if you have a problem or if you have a question. We also have in the Google form, you can indicate if you're a new speaker or if you're an experienced speaker. We really encourage first-time speakers to try out a lightning talk. I think it's a great way to test out your speaking skills. And if you have a new topic that you want to try out, that this will be a good thing, because they're 5-minute talks. It goes by in lightning speed. Of course, the slides are optional. You will have an option to share the slides. And before the lightning talks start, we will have an audio-video check in the actual session. Unconference. As always, we have the Unconference running parallel to the talks. This time they're all running in the sessions or tables, the tables of requirement, as I like to say. It hasn't caught on yet. Maybe I'll stop saying it. So Monday all day and Tuesday in the afternoon after the job fair, if you go to the sessions page on this side, you will have a list of tables, and then you have the spreadsheet where you can see what's going on. The spreadsheet will have the actual time slots and the topics. You can sign up to host a session in the spreadsheet, but you do not need to sign up to attend a session. If you want to just watch or participate, you can just go to the sessions page, select the table that has the session that you want to attend. The handouts are linked in the chat. There's going to be a pinned message in the chat with helpful tips. You can always leave a session if you are not feeling it. And it's probably a little bit less awkward than getting up from a group table, so it's okay. You can vote with your mouse or vote with your browser tabs if you want to go and switch sessions. And if you have an idea that you want to do, don't wait for others to suggest it. Just throw it on the spreadsheet and do it. If you're hosting a session, you are basically the main moderator. We have an Unconference coordinator, Val Grimm, and you can always ask Val for any help, but you are in charge of your own session. If you see any code of conduct problem, if you have any scheduling problem, please feel free to talk to us. The job fair will be on Tuesday morning in the Expo tab. So right now you will see some Expo booths for our top sponsors, but we will have even more sponsors with short-term booths only for Tuesday morning, where you can go and find your documentarian-friendly job. If you don't find something that you like in the job fair, you can always go to our job board. And if you want to post a job for documentarians, that this would also be a good place. And we can feature you in the newsletter. Talk to us if you want to look into our job board. The social event this time is also going to be virtual, and it's going to utilize the same tables for the Unconference and the writing day. So the spreadsheet is an integrated schedule, so you can look for the tab of today or tomorrow. Well, today is for the social event. And the social event will start 1 hour after the last talk, and it's going to last for about 2 hours. And feel free to throw on the spreadsheet any ideas. You can have trivia, virtual karaoke, all kinds of virtual board games, virtual escape rooms I've heard they do now. So it's up to you to create the experience, the social event experience. And of course, if you have any questions, you can let us know if you need any suggestions. The Welcome Wagon team has been especially busy this year revamping a lot of the documentation that we have, a lot of the guides. So you can see our the video is a new thing instead of doing face-to-face tours. And they will be available for questions and to help you with anything in the help desk. The video, of course, like I said, is there as an orientation video. It's available at any time. And you can also look at the website in the Welcome Wagon page for all kinds of tips and tricks how to make the most out of the virtual experience. So I want to kind of wrap it up a little bit, this part, by saying thank you to the speakers and the staff, the sponsors, and to you. This wouldn't be a conference without all of you. And I want to also thank specifically our sponsors, top sponsors. We have Google, Red Hat, and Elastic. We also have a lot of people involved behind the scenes And thank you so much for these organizations for supporting us and for helping us make the most out of this experience for you. If you notice, the tickets are a lot cheaper for the virtual conference, and it's partially thanks to the sponsors who keep supporting us, even if they can't set up a booth and send us swag face to face. So I want to kind of finish up this introduction. We usually do this state of the Write the Docs community, where we give some stats and talk about our plans for the near future for the community. So the way that we usually start is by giving you some numbers. You know, we have, of course, the Portland conference that we had in August, this conference, and we also have a virtual Australia and India conference coming up on December 3rd and 4th. So for those of you who have a bit of trouble with some of the time zones and live in that area, you have another opportunity to be there all day. And we're really looking forward to that. They just announced their schedule. So you can go to the Australia and India website to see what kind of talks are going to happen there. We have meetups on 5 continents. A lot of them have gone virtual. So if you are organizing a meetup and you want to get a virtual meetup going, let us know and we can probably help you convert your format to a virtual format. Our Slack has topped 10,000 members now, which is amazing. And I think that it's a big factor in the feeling of global community that we have. And our newsletter, where we give you community updates and also summarize some of the highlights of the conversations that are happening on Slack. Newsletter has about 8,000 monthly subscribers, which is huge. And every time we do this presentation, the numbers get bigger. So that makes me feel really warm and fuzzy. I also want to take this opportunity, and this is something similar to what Eric did in Portland. This year has been a pretty harsh roller coaster for a lot of things in the world, but one of the main things that has happened is the Black Lives Matter movement has really gotten a lot more vocal and a lot more intense, and justifiably so. And a lot of the efforts in the tech industry to increase diversity, especially to Black, Indigenous, and people of color. We are trying also to do our best to make sure that our community and our conferences are accessible to as many people as possible. And we want to give the people who don't have a lot of equity, to help them join. So, for example, we have a new Slack channel, BIPOC, where you can go and discuss these issues and see how you can get involved, and for the Black, Indigenous, and people of color of our community to have a safe space to converse. And we're also trying to increase the exposure of our opportunity grants for the conference, and especially in the virtual conference where there are no travel requirements. We hope that this will help lower the entry barrier for speakers and for attendees and for people who want to feel like a part of the community to be able to access us. So if there's anything that you think of that we can do, please let us know, because we want to be a lot more proactive about this, and we're always thinking about it. So please share your ideas with us. So looking at the future, things are a little bit different than what they were in the beginning of the year. We were trying to look into an East Coast conference, but that's obviously been deferred. We want to continue to improve our virtual conferences. So this is already version 2.0 of the virtual conference. Portland was version 1.0, and Australia hopefully will be even more optimized. So if you have any ideas of how we can do better, please write to us or find us in the help desk, or come, send us a Slack message or send us an email. We have another salary survey out, and we hope to get a lot of responses. Last year we got more than 600 responses, I think. And so we really hope that it'll give us a good snapshot of what is happening in the documentarian-friendly job fields. So how do we stay in touch? Right now we're in the conference platform, and you can talk to anybody in the chat. But of course, we're happy to see your tweets. If you tweet, you can use the hashtag Write the Docs. and we'll be happy to retweet your fun and positive tweets. You can also join our Slack if you haven't done so already. A lot of great conversations happening there, a lot of channels about a lot of different topics. And we really hope that you will enjoy this virtual space, and I will see you in a little bit in the Q&A session. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carolyn, and I'm going to be your MC/Q&A moderator for today. And yeah, here I have with me the lovely Mikey. Nice to have you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm really glad to see everybody joining us. We have more than 200 people attending right now, and we'll have hopefully more by lunchtime, so it always kind of fluctuates. But I'm really excited. Thanks.
Yes, I'm also excited. All right, great. So we have one question in the chat, and it is, do you do anything for disabled people?
Yes, so the conferences that we've done, obviously on site, all the venues that we've used have always been accessible. We also have the live captions for every talk to help people follow along, and so we have a textual representation of everything that you hear. So the Q&A sessions are also live captioned, and you can follow them in the link. We also try to have, I mean, I don't know what else, what other things, I mean, we always have textual representations and images, and for everything that we do with the sound, and our venues are always accessible. If anybody has any ideas on how to make the virtual spaces more accessible, whether it's the Slack or the website, we'll be happy to get your suggestions for sure.
That's great. And then I actually have a question for you.
Yeah.
What that you noticed maybe from Portland, what aspects of the virtual conference do you think are maybe better than the in-person one, if any?
That's a great question. And I have to say that what we are doing right now is really fun. And I think, because what we've always done, and if for people who don't know this, normally in our conferences, we don't take questions after talks. And we usually schedule at least 10 minutes between every talk so that the speaker can be available and people can reach out to the speaker directly to ask their questions. So we usually have some huddles near the stage while the next speaker is getting ready. But because we've done this virtual conference and because the talks are recorded, we wanted to keep a live interactive portion of it going. So adding this session for the live Q&A is a great way to get some interaction with the speaker and to kind of get that vibe of having multiple people talk to the speaker about their talk. And I think it's actually proven to make the questions process a lot more useful because obviously when you don't have on-stage questions, the speaker might get the same question multiple times from different people. But we also didn't want to have an unmoderated questions, right? So I've been to too many conferences where there were questions, comments disguised as questions, and questions that are not not necessarily relevant to the largest amount of people. So having this live Q&A session, I think was a really interesting thing. The other thing that I like that we did that turned out really nice is the hallway sessions. Obviously, we don't have actual hallways, and we tried to use a different feature in the platform to generate conversations between people who don't already know each other. But we decided to go with these hallway sessions, and I think they've been a great kind of water cooler congregating area. Those are the two main things that I think seem to make the virtual conference, like it elevates the experience. And I think a lot of these things are easier to manage when the conference is online, when you don't have to moderate questions, from the stage while there are hundreds of people in the room and whatever. So it feels a little bit more easier to manage.
Oh, as the person who has to give the questions, I totally agree. If I would be standing on stage right now, I'd be like, okay, questions, cool. You like run across to like hand people the mic.
Yep. I mean, I wouldn't dream of asking you to do this, in the actual in the face-to-face conference. And also I want to give you a shout out, and the MCs in general, for stepping into this new job, right? You also have a new job this year. You've never had to do this before in our conference. So I really appreciate stepping into this format. So thanks for that.
Thank you. All right, we have another question. So this is a question that talks about the future.
Okay.
So the idea of like, will the 3 conferences remain virtual, or will they become in person again when that's possible? And are the organizers considering creating a permanent virtual conference for those who might not be able to attend in-person ones?
Yeah, this is in fact a question. Thanks for that. It's a question that we've been asking ourselves since we decided to go for virtual conferences. And the way that it looks right now, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, right? I mean, it is a very difficult question to answer. But I think that from the way things are looking right now, we'll probably, at least the first half of 2021, will be virtual. And now that we know, this is the 2nd virtual event that we've done, and we see that it works really well. It has a much lower entry barrier for speakers and for attendees. I mean, you can participate from anywhere. You don't need to travel. So there are some advantages to having a virtual conference. Obviously, I don't expect it to replace the in-person conference for sure in the long term. So the summary, I guess, is as soon as we're physically and logistically able to start doing in-person conferences again, we will. I mean, that's definitely, we're not dead yet. We're not finished with this. Until that happens, all our events will be virtual. And we're also looking into creating maybe some kind of a conference pass, a virtual conference pass, both for attendees and maybe also for sponsors, where you can get, let's say, access to all of the virtual events during the year. So that's another option we're looking at. We still have to figure out how to calculate it, how to price it in a way that would make sense. But, there could very well be a scenario where we have, the regular conferences and we also have virtual conferences because they are relatively smoother to create. It's not less work. It's definitely the same amount of work. It's just a different kind of work to prepare them. But what I see is a lot more, and I would like to use this opportunity to remind people, if you want to do a one-day meetup or a half-day meetup in a virtual space, now is a great time to do it. So, I mean, I wouldn't be against seeing more regional events like one-day conferences and stuff that are virtual. So that way, even after we get back to in-person conferences, I don't think we would like to give up the virtual format entirely. I mean, we're already learning it. We're already getting more experience in it.
Yeah, great. And I also want to thank you because as someone, I don't know, I'm really glad that you prioritize safety for this. And so I would much rather have this in this moment be online right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny, I live in Czech Republic. In the spring, we were one of the best behaved countries, and now you can't leave your house. So you never know what's going to happen. And and I think safety and security are definitely the top priorities for everybody now, I think.
All right. Someone asked, what do we use for questions? The event tab or the stage tab? You can use both.
No. Well, the conference-wide chat, the main chat does not have the questions collected from it. So it's either the stage chat or the Q&A session chat. So both of those chats areas will be collected.
Just make sure to preface it with the Q and the colon.
Yeah.
And then you're good.
Yep.
All right. It looks like we are out of time.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. But this was nice.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, and stick around for the next talk.